Here's your weekly news update with me, Larry Lawton. We're going to jump right in. Of course, the world news, Ukraine-Russia war. How can that not be in the top of our list of things that are going crazy right now? Kiev, as of the taping of this, is being surrounded. They are fighting really hard. The Ukrainians said they defeated a column or a convoy of tanks and stuff. You see it all on the news on all the channels. And it doesn't look like this is going to end anytime soon. The spirit of the Ukrainian people for freedom is amazing. Obviously, Vladimir Putin, I don't know if he has an end to this or what his end game is. Obviously, the people is what I think about. And I always said this. I said, old men start wars, young people die for them. In this case, there's a lot of not only young people, there's women and children dying in this war, and it has to stop. I don't know what a red line is, if there's going to be a red line. I heard a couple of good congressmen state, we have to get level heads. We can't jump into conclusions with a lot of things that happen, but you can't watch genocide. You can't watch some of the stuff going on and not react in some way or another. What that reaction should be is really up for debate. If the United States is going to go to war, or if they're going to bring NATO into this, I think they need to have a full vote of the Congress and declare a War Powers Act. I think that's something that should be discussed, if and even that's on the table. But it should be the people should know what's going on, and it should not be a war of what's going on just between the two governments. We need to know as people what is going on, and that's what we have representatives for, to ask those tough questions, and they're all tough questions, but they need to be answered. My thoughts and prayers are with all the people involved. I could see the world sanctions are really crippling Russia, and I've never seen anything like it, whereas this many countries are actually coalescing against what Russia's doing. And I think it's something that Vladimir Putin didn't plan on, and I think he's miscalculated the reaction of the world on this. And I just don't know what his end game is, and I don't know if anybody knows what the end game is. You can't hold people against their will, this many people. It's just, you can't be done. So I think there's something to be said for that, and I hope it keeps going. On the Russian issues as well, and this is in the world news, Brittany Griner, who has been held so far for 3 weeks. She's in a women NBA, or the ladies NBA. She's a player and a two-time gold medalist, and she was stopped at the airport. Supposedly she had rosin. Rosin is a type of marijuana, I guess you would call that. And you could face up to 10 years in Russia for that. Nobody's really knowing the story, and I researched so much. Nobody knows where she is at this point. Obviously, there's no diplomatic ties, and this is sadly put on the back burner because it's affecting lives all over the world, but I understand that at this point. But it's something that young people and even myself have to think about. We live in a country where that's not going to happen, hopefully, and some other countries, but there are other countries that are very hard on that, and I don't get it. So I just don't know what's next for her. And in fact, there's 2 other people been held for something just like this, and I feel for them as well. Continuing on with the world news, North Korea on February 26th and March 4th tested intercontinental ballistic missiles that actually have a range of over 3,400 miles, which can touch the United States or touch anywhere. What are they doing this for? Attention? I don't know. But listen, again, the United States can't be the world's police. I'm the kind of person that would really put the hammer down, and I don't mean I'm telling them. I just say, listen, do what you want. But if you point that at one of our allies, or you do something, then the fury, a fire of fury is going to come down on you like you never fucking thought about in your life. I'm more like that than trying to police the world and be all stuff. People ask me what I would do as president. I would make some tough decisions, and that's what presidents do. It's crippling to this whole entire world right now, what is going on, and nobody needs this actually. And it's just something more world news that we have going on. Now we're going to jump into some national news. Obviously, the economy of the United States is hurting, and gas prices are at the highest they've ever been. We have a 40-year a recession right now, and a highest recession. And where's that going to end? But you know, I cannot complain about gas prices, and I have a big RV and all that. I cannot complain about gas prices when I look at what's going on over there. I do think the United States should be more oil independent. Drill, baby, drill. And I don't want to get into the you know, what we should do, and liberal and Democrats and all Republicans, Democrats, because I'm neither. But we need to be oil independent. If nothing else, this whole entire incident in the war in Ukraine and Russia is showing us that, one, NATO is important, and I think actually Vladimir Putin didn't figure that out. He's actually strengthened NATO. And also, you know, we live a pretty good life, and most people do. Yes, we complain about gas, but there are people over there that are starving now, and there's no food and energy, and it's just so sad. So it's hard for me to complain. I hope you feel the same way. We have to do things. I wouldn't want to buy oil from Russia at this point either, because Vladimir Putin can stop this at any time he wants, and I hope he does. On to COVID. COVID. What's COVID? Does anybody hear anything about COVID? I haven't heard anything about COVID anywhere. I think this war essentially killed COVID. It stopped COVID, but it's crazy to think what's going on with COVID, and then now you don't hear anything about it. Obviously, numbers are down, everything's down, and hopefully this is the end of it. I do fly a lot, and I just heard that the TSA has extended, or the federal government has extended the mask wearing on planes until April 18th. I hope it ends at April 18th. One, because I'm flying to LA on the 19th to do some work. Continue on to national news. Jussie Smollett. Does everybody know who he is? Jussie Smollett is a guy who did a fake hate crime in Chicago. Was convicted. He's screaming that he wasn't, but abundance of evidence, went to trial, and he lost. He's screaming. He got 5 months in jail. He'll probably do about half of that in Chicago. And he'll do another 30 months on probation. He's screaming in the court that he's not suicidal. He's not going to be an Epstein, so to speak. And I just think that's a play for words and stuff. But, you know, the prison system sucks. So I don't think they have any legs to stand on as well. But, you know, what he did was wrong, because as a gay black man, he ruined a lot of things for a lot of people. You know, I don't think they needed that kind of support. And I think that was a political play or a career play, and I think it was wrong. We all have our own opinions on that, obviously. I think I looked at this case enough as a supporter of a lot of things, and I think it's just dead wrong. I mean, Jussie Smollett deserves what he got, and he didn't even get much. It cost a lot of money, and he should be fined. He should pay for that. I hope people look at that and look into the case in a very deep way, and not with race, just what he did. Major League Baseball is back. Players could be reporting as quick as today and this whole week, and the season is full, and it's starting April 4th, which I think is good, because baseball usually brings a lot of people together. They got a long schedule, everybody. It's 161 games, 162 games, so they play 81 at home and 81 away, and it's a long season, but it's something that brings people together, and I love to go to a baseball game myself. Okay, in Florida, check this out. In Pembroke Pines, Florida, a 5-year-old attacked a teacher. Supposedly, he gave her a concussion and stuff. I can't see how a 5-year-old can attack somebody. They were talking about charging this kid. But Florida statute says somebody under 7 really can't. But there is wiggle room, because if it's a serious assault felony, they can. 5 years old, no. Period. End of story. Can't even happen. How do you have intent? How does a 5-year-old have intent? I'm thinking of my grandson, 5 years old. It boggles my mind where even people would be thinking about that. But you never know in today's crazy world. Let's jump into weather. We're moving right along. Well, we got a storm called QUINLAN coming across the whole country, and it's going to get bad up in the Northeast. They're even predicting some snow in Alabama and Atlanta in the high points, the mountains up in Atlanta and Alabama, which is pretty wild anyway. Here we are in March, and they're going to have that. But it's going to be really severe winds is what they're predicting. Even in Florida, in Gainesville, Florida, it's predicted to get to 29 degrees Saturday night. That's pretty cold. That's pretty cold, but I can't complain. I hear I'm in Florida, in a little south, and we won't even hit freezing, not even close. Probably be near 40 degrees. So I can't actually complain at all. But if you're up in the Northeast and you're in these areas with high winds, please be careful. Listen, people get a little complacent this time of the year and accidents happen. You remember when the first snow hits the ground and rain and stuff, oil comes up in the highways, and that's when it gets the most slippery, so be careful. Listen to your local weather stuff. Stay in if you have to. You know, why would you want to go out anyway if you don't have to? Moving on to deaths. Emilio Delgado, 81, who was the beloved Louis on Sesame Street. I remember him. He was the handyman, Louis the handyman. And he died of natural causes of cancer, part cancer. But he died at 81 years old, and he's somebody I actually remembered. Crazy. Also, CONRAD JANIS, who played Mork and Mindy, the father of Mindy on Mork and Mindy. I'm not sure a lot of people remember it. I did. I did not know this. He was also a famous trombone legend, which is, I did not know as a musician. He was a famous, and he died at 94 of organ failure. 94, again, listen, when a person hits 80 and they pass, I kind of say, wow, you lived a pretty good life. I really do. Here's one that I didn't say that. Bones actor Heath Freeman, 41 years old, died of an overdose of multiple drugs. 41 years old, which makes it pretty sad. I don't know what was going on in his life. I never try to judge. You know, people will always say, oh, he just wanted to do that. He committed suicide. He didn't. No. Could be nothing natural. I don't look at him down and say, oh, look, he was a druggie or something. Not at all. I look at this as a case of, wow, what a shame somebody died at 41. But it happens, and my condolences there. And also, Laurel Goodwin, who was a Star Trek, the lady who played Star Trek, Girls, Girls, Girls. She was also in the original Hillbillies. And they're going to do an autopsy on her. She died at 79 years old, and they don't know what. Again, 79 is living a pretty good life. So I'm not going to look at that and say, you know, wow, okay, you know, she died at that age. Is it good, bad, or indifference? Listen, do the autopsy, find out what it was. But at 79, you lived a decent life. And again, I'm not telling anybody that I think anybody should die at any age. Live your life. Death is something we can't stop. And it's going to happen to all of us. Last but not least, let's go to sports. Yes, sports. March Madness is coming, and that's the biggest sporting event in Las Vegas, if anybody didn't know that. Just to give you a rundown, the top 8 teams, that's what I'm going to do. The #1 seed in the West is Gonzaga. East, the #1 seed is Kansas. In the Midwest, the #1 seed is Arizona. And in the South, it's Baylor. And the #2 seeds is Villanova in the West. East is Kentucky. Midwest is Auburn. And South is Wisconsin. How it works when they set the brackets up, 1 plays 16, 2 plays 15 in each bracket, and that's how it goes down. It's going to be great games. And you know what's good about the NCAA March Madness? Anything can happen, and I love it. I love the excitement of it. So, if you hear what I predict, which I didn't yet, don't listen to me, because I'm not good at any of this thing. And lastly, golf, one of my favorite sports. It's the TPC. They call it the 5th major in golf. All of the top 50 players, I think, are there. Maybe not. Maybe 1 or 2 are out. The leaders right now are at -6. And as the film here, some of these guys did not finish. And I'm going to tell you the top 5 in the world and where they stand. John Rahm, he did finish. He's tied for 11th. He shot a -369. Colin Morikawa is #2 in the world. He's on the 2nd hole, and he's tied for 40 at -1, so he birdied either 1 or 2. Victor Hovland, he's tied for 40 as well. He's finished. He shot a 71, which is -1. Patrick Cantlay also finished, and he's tied for 68th. He shot even par. And Scotty Scheffler, who's tied for 40 as well, is in a 3rd hole, and he's -1. Those are your sports moments. I hope you like my quick update on the national, world, national, and local news. Have a great day, everybody. Please stay safe, stay connected, and I'll see you next week.